Hi Nigel, pour yourself a nice glass of wine. Obviously you have the photo op with a pint, because this is going to go in a direction that I don't think you're ready for. Just before we get on the roller coaster though, can I just remind you that it is now day 5 since the survivors of the grooming gang scandal that you misrepresented in your press conference earlier this week, where you exploited another survivor of the grooming gang scandal. They are still waiting for the apology. I really do appreciate that you've got a lot on at the moment, and things at home must be really difficult. To be honest, it's probably quite a tense time for you. But none of that negates the fact that you owe these 5 survivors a public apology. Can I congratulate you on learning nothing from the Southport riots? Though admittedly you did say in your Bloomberg interview, more of that coming as well in a bit, that you didn't want to be a Prime Minister that unified the country. But I'm beginning to wonder whether you are actually Prime Minister material. It's just like, when I said after the Bloomberg interview that I don't think you're very intelligent and your attention to detail and your critical thinking skills are not very well honed. This sort of supports my hypothesis. It would be a fair question to ask, why is this guy posting from prison? Except he isn't, is he, Nigel? It's tricky, isn't it, even when the clue is in the video? That's right, the video clearly states that it is AI generated. So the question remains, stupid or disingenuous, or potentially both. Great, if a little surprising, to see Zia on Laura Kuenssberg this morning. Again, odd because he's not an elected politician, but he does seem to be on the media rounds quite a lot for reform. I think what would be useful would be if he was actually speaking the truth when he's on the programmes. You see, he's claiming here, and I get it, it's simplistic, populist, all the rest of it, that stop and search would take deadly weapons off the streets. If only he'd read this report that was presented to Parliament, which clearly states it doesn't. Easy mistake though when you're trying to weaponise, pun intended, a national tragedy. Good to see Deputy Dick is really cross that teachers are actually teaching our children critical thinking skills when it comes to political parties. He was cross because you were next door to the extremist section. Yet the PowerPoint that he's really cross about literally just says you're a right-wing party who wants stricter immigration, deportation of illegal migrants, tax cuts, deregulation, want UK sovereignty and traditional education policies. The lesson also correctly said the far-right ideology can damage communities, increase hate crime and threaten democracy, and named newspapers like the Mail for having dramatic headlines around the small boats crossings, using words like invasion or making migrants sound like a threat. Good luck to him taking that to the Charity Commission, because that all seems accurate to me. I would say, as evidence to support their case, that the school just showed Darren Grimes' X account. Or maybe the fact that Reform don't seem to do anything when any of their people post anything that is racist, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, anything. Anyway, I know you don't want to think about this, but I'm afraid we just have to visit it one more time because something has come up that I wasn't really aware of. Let's go back a step. I know we're all trying to find out what you really knew about Nathan Gill being a Russian asset. But of course, you weren't the only person that knew Nathan Gill really well. Because here's Deputy Dick with Nathan Gill, and bizarrely enough, he also said that he didn't really know Nathan. Even though, like you, there are loads of photos and videos of the two of them together. And whilst the mainstream media have only just started to write articles about quite how close you and Nathan Gill were, other publications have gone a little bit further and have pointed out that Dubai is quite important to Russia. It turns out that since they were sanctioned in 2022, sometimes the Russians seem to, launder money through Dubai. Seemingly, they buy properties through shell companies, so the true beneficial owner is never really revealed. They trade in commodities via crypto because enforcement is a little bit weaker. Now, as a party, Reform seem to really like getting money in from the tax exiles. Anyway, back to Deputy Dick and his girlfriend Isabel Oakeshott. They recently had a really lovely holiday paid for by a Russian oligarch, which is lovely because they don't get to spend that much time together, because Isabel became an economic migrant and moved to, let me just check my notes, Dubai. In fact, Deputy Dick seems quite taken with the country. If you don't mind me saying, in this interview, he seems quite unpatriotic to Britain, celebrating the lack of regulation in Dubai instead. Oh, well, other than talk about the people that are raising the flags. He thought that was a really good thing. Though, of course, that was never a grassroots movement. Whilst I know you tried to make out that it's all about patriotism. Like Operation Raise the Colours was started by a former EDL member. But I digress. I mean, for clarity, Nigel, I'm not saying there's a connection between Deputy Dick, Russia, and Dubai, other than the fact that Deputy Dick went on holiday with a Russian oligarch and his girlfriend lives in Dubai. And like, it's just a coincidence, isn't it, that Dubai is the place that Russia tries to sort of filter its money through to the West. Like, I'm just asking questions. But it was interesting, wasn't it, in the Bloomberg interview, when you were asked about the fact that suddenly you were mixing in new circles, seemingly meeting with more people from the Middle East. Now, bizarrely, when that question was put to you, which I thought was quite an innocuous question, you seemed to get a little bit defensive and said you're not going to answer any questions about that at all, and you didn't know where the interviewer got the information from. Which is like the exact thing you said when that German newspaper asked you years ago, had you met the Russian ambassador? And you said no, and then this photo appeared, and then you suddenly remembered that you had. Interestingly, in the Bloomberg interview, you sort of implied that she hadn't got that information from a reliable source, and you seemed a little bit flummoxed when she pointed out she'd heard it from Nick Candy. That would be Nick Candy, who's one of your main fundraisers. Anyway, what am I like? Literally just doing a stream of consciousness to you. Just being interested in how small the world is sometimes. Anyway, changing the subject, did you see Boris's post this week about celebrity traitors? He points out that the traitors brilliantly exposes the human flaw that makes us blind to villainy, even when it's staring us in the face. Great quote, isn't it? Anyway, as you were,